Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are live. Thank you so much for joining me. Actually, not just me, but also Stewart Wood is going to be with us in just a moment. So thank you for being here. We're just kind of hanging out. It is a weekend review Friday, TGIF, everyone, TGIF. I'm sitting here having my cup of tea, a little bit of focus, as always, so good. Hopefully you're having your cup of tea with me, maybe coffee or whatever. It is later on the other side of the planet, so maybe you're having something harder. So today we're going to be talking about everything that's happened during the week and getting into it and having this discussion with Stewart also. So let me go ahead and bring him in here. Stewart, let's see. Are you here? Are you here? Let me see. There you go. Up. Let me see.
So
Yep, there we go.
how are we today?
We are good. We're good. We're testing out all this live stuff as we're testing the live stuff out as we have been for like the last couple of weeks, and I really like it. It's been working out pretty well, and we had you on. I think it was like last week, I believe, and it was a macro session, like macro photography 101 that went over just huge. It was massive. It was really big. And if you guys didn't see it, definitely go check it out. It was a really,
good
really
conversations on that one, wasn't there?
fantastic. Absolutely. So anyways, tell everybody who you are if they didn't visit us during the macro live session that we did with you last week.
Okay, my name is Stewart Wood. I am a macro photographer from the UK, and I'm also a YouTube content creator like Joe is. We have channels that are about similar subscription based, so we're going to have a race to 50k, I think. So you can get there first.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We're both, it's really interesting. We're both at like 30,000 subscribers. And I have to say, you know, the work that you do on your channel, you should be at, 300,000 subscribers. And I don't know how the whole YouTube thing works. It's hard. It is hard. And anyone that watches us, they know it because I get that a lot too. They're like, Joe, that channel that you have there, you should be at 100,000 at least. And I'm like, I feel so too. I mean, I have about 450 videos, but it's just
certain tick boxes that you've got to hit. And if you don't hit every single one, YouTube just goes, I'm not interested in you.
Exactly.
At the moment, my weak part is my thumbnails, the titles of the videos, and the descriptions. Those are my weak parts at the moment. So I've got to work on those to get more interesting titles. It's like, for instance, if you take the lower 100mm, I can go 100mm, lower 100mm macro lens review. And that's the truth. That's what the video is about. But if I go instead, lower 100mm, is it a good lens? ? People are more likely to click on that one than the previous one because you're asking the question, and now it goes into their subconscious, and they're like, I want to know the answer. Is it a good lens? Do you know what I mean?
No,
so I've got to work
absolutely.
on all that, to bump up that impression rate.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to do these little slick things, for I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's YouTube. Plus, they keep moving the goalposts as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And what happens is, I think you just talked about that just not that long ago. I think it was at the beginning of our conversation. Today, you were saying how YouTube was changing like the algorithm and what they like and what they don't like. It's so frustrating because when you think that you know exactly where the goalposts are, they like shift it over to the left or shift it to the right. And it's like, it was just at the right last year and now it's went to the left and now it's back over to the right.
It's like last year, right? You look at last year, it'd be like YouTube wants long videos because they want watch duration and tags, good tags. And now all of a sudden they've turned around and go, you know what? We want shorter videos now, and your title and your description are basically your tags now. And your tags are just like, don't even bother with the tags, they're not doing nothing, So when people say that YouTube is a constant learning experience, it is constant. You're constantly having to learn What's the latest trend? What's the latest thing with the algorithm to push your videos? It's absolutely mental.
No,
It
it
really
is. It is. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about that macro 100 because I know that's something of very big interest to you, and I think it's interesting to a lot of people because they really like the macro photography session that we did. I also did something today, just looking at today's. Once again, it's a weekend review. I did a Fujifilm is poised to beat Canon in the mirrorless ILC market. And they're very, very close. So we're going to get into some of that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Canon EF lens purge that seems to be going on. And I did an entire video on that this week also, which is very fascinating. And I definitely have some thoughts on it, and you have thoughts. Ours differ a little bit, but I think they were pretty much, once you get around the whole entire thought process, we're pretty much in the same place. And then yesterday I did a piece that was, does the camera gear matter? And I talked a little bit about the breadth of a photograph and how to use black and white basically to your advantage to see the essence of what is going on in a photograph. Doesn't matter if it's color or not. The black and whites are the bones to the photograph. It allows you to see things a little bit different. So we talked about that. And, like I said, let's get right into the macro stuff because that was something that came through. I know you brought it up. It was on, I think, Canon Rumors. They were talking about that RF 100 2.8. What do you think about it? Is this the case? Is it a typo? Is this what's going on? It's supposed to be a 1 point. What is it? What's the story?
I suspect, bear with me while I change some batteries over for my young'un. I suspect it's a typo. Okay. Now, one of the hardest things for any macro photographer to learn is what the hell those goddamn numbers stand for.
Right.
Yeah. And what it is, it's basically your magnification ratio of the lens.
Right.
And if you look at the numbers, you got like 1 to 1 or 1 to 2 or 2 to 1. The biggest number is your, like, basically the magnification. So if you go 2 to 1, that's twice the size of it's double the size of 1, which means it's twice life size. Okay.
Right.
And if it's a 1 to 2, that's half life size. It's very complicated. I mean, I've only just starting to understand it now. And on the write-up, I suspect it's a typo because they say that it's a Canon RF 100mm f2.8 L IS USM macro 1 to 1.4, which would suggest it's half life size. I'm not too sure how it works.
Right.
But I suspect it's a typo because underneath they've got shooting magnification, basically half life size to 1.4. So what we're going to get in here is obviously this is a replacement for the EF version of the lens. But rather than having a rehash, which I was fearing they were going to do, and all they'll do is just adapt the current EF 100mm macro lens to the RF system, it looks like they're increasing the magnification of that lens also, which is great news because macro photographers, we're always trying to get closer and closer and closer.
Exactly. So that was, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. I don't really know if it is. I mean, it seems like it's a typo. And like you're saying, I'm also with you when it comes to what Canon is doing. They've been, let me move this mic in here so probably everyone hear me a little bit better since we are live and this isn't going to be any kind of post-process later on. Anyway, so what a lot of times that they're doing as of right now is they're just taking everything that they currently have in their EF lens lineup, and they're converting them over to RF and trying to make them bigger, let's say, or I should say better, and smaller, because they can make them slightly smaller. So if you see a 24 to 70, or if you see the 7200, which is normally, let's say, nearly a foot long, it's only 8 inches or whatever. So there is a size difference when it comes to RF to EF, obviously. So they are trying to do that, but the side to that is, are they going to try to reinvent the wheel? And that was going back to what I was talking about in a past video this week when we were talking about what do you think, and I want to get your opinion on this too, the difference is in using an RF piece of glass that you might pay, let's say $1,000 for, in comparison to buying the exact same focal length, a EF mount version of that for half price, let's say $500, and use the converter, your adapter that Canon has provided for like $99. What are your thoughts on it? I know mine. I want to know what you think.
The RF glass is sharper than the EF glass. Okay, there's no question about it. It is sharper. But the question you have to ask, is it double the amount sharper, as in price range? Do you know what I mean?
Correct, right.
Now, I've got the EOS I've got the control ring adapter for this particular camera, and the EF glass works flawlessly on it. There's no interruption with autofocus or any of the auto settings that you might want to use on the camera. In fact, you can't even tell you're using an EF piece of glass on your R body. You can't tell.
Right.
It's the other thing
that good
as well. Another thing as well that some people don't realise is because of the adapter, you can also use EFS glass on your EOS R body as well, which a lot of people don't realise that. So if you're coming from a crop sensor, you can actually still use your glass. Yes, it is going to be cropped, but at least you can use it.
Yeah, you can use it. It's
I
was talking about. Yeah, that's what I was going to get into. You're talking about exactly about autofocus. The thing that what I was talking about in my last video was not only can you use it and it adapts well. The thing is, most of the time in the past, whenever you adapted a lens to a camera, you would lose light, a stop or two of light or whatever, because it had optics built into the adapter. Well, this adapter has no optics. Also, you would lose the ability to use autofocus, or the autofocus was somehow delayed. And then also what you ended up with, it was like also and also and also. There was always a problem. And even with image stabilization, all of a sudden you would lose image stabilization if you adapt it. The thing that changed with the advent of this EF, RF adapter is that none of this happened, right? Everything works. So your your image stabilization works, your autofocus is dead on, and you lose no light because there's no optics. There's nothing inside. So, I mean, did Canon shoot themselves in the foot by giving you something so good? I mean, so awesome,
Yeah, I don't know about that, to be honest with you. But I mean, what I can tell you is if I'm buying a new piece of glass, it's going to be an RF glass.
Right.
Every single time, because...
Agreed.
I'm on the RF system. I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon because, quite frankly, I can't afford to jump ship anyway. No matter how much Canon piss me off by crippling their stupid shit, I'm stuck with them, you know what I mean? And it's little things. It's little things that irritate me. That's a whole other conversation. We can start off in a bit with a rant. But here's my question, right? When it comes to the adapters, right? And this is a hard one. Okay. Now, if you come to videography, okay. Now you're using an A/D, aren't you? And Sony.
Yep, ZV-1.
Yeah,
the ZV-1.
So if you was to go with, let's say, an R5 or an R6 for video, we're talking video, right? Would you purchase the RF? Is it the 15 to 35 or 16 to 35
16.
lens?
I think it's like something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's 16 to 35.
And then put an ND filter on the front of that lens, or would you go with the EF version and buy the ND mount adapter for it?
And then what would happen is,
that thing is absolutely awesome.
And then you can put the ND filter internal to the adapter. So yes, and yes, and yes. And we know that NDs or any type of filtration closer to the sensor is always better. So having that ND literally almost abutting the sensor, right on the edge of that adapter is a perfect spot for it. So yes. Okay, so that's a great question. My answer is if I can put the camera at any distance from the subject, okay, I would probably use it and get a, let's say, not adapt it because I don't want the extra distance, because that flange or that extra is about, let's say, a ½ inch. And that would just bring it closer and closer to me. And I'm like right now, literally, I can touch the lens here. I mean, I'm this close. So if I was like just running and gunning and I don't want any type of extra weight and I don't need it for ND and I'm just going to be, I'll probably just do an RF. But for any other purpose, especially macro work, I mean, I would take the filter or that adapter that has the filter that you can put into it any day over having to put filtration on the outside of it. That's my personal opinion. That's what I would do. And what's really good about that, and what people don't understand, is ND filters come in different sizes. So
Yeah.
unless you have a hood that's specifically made, that's enlarged, that's large, let's say ND filters that you're sliding them in. If you buy an ND filter or a polarizing filter that you put on the end of your lens, they're different, 55 millimeters, 60, 70, all different millimeters, 52 millimeters. So you have to have a whole ton of different ND filters and different filtration, whereas if you have an internal to that ring, that adapter, that's it. You could throw on any glass and you can use those. Absolutely.
Yeah. And there is such a thing, particularly when it comes to video. This is personal choice, so we can argue over it if you want to. There is such a thing as being too sharp.
Yes.
When it comes to video. I don't like it too sharp,
I think as we get older, we want it less and less sharp. So any of these lines, they just kind of get blurred off, and we're not. I'm not starting any Botox anytime soon.
I've been plucking my eyebrows.
All right, let's not talk about plucking your eyebrows.
It's only since I had the new setup, because obviously I'm, because I got more confidence with my dental treatment having been finished, apart from the tooth here. I'm close to the camera now, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my god. That 4K does show everything, I have got a question I need to answer. Good for Nothing has just said, he says he has an R5 and the Canon 100 f2.8, but do you recommend the Laura RF macro over the EF Laura version? Personally, I would go with the EF version and adapt it to the R5 because it adapts flawlessly. The RF macro from Laura is full manual, so you've got no aperture control at all with the RF version. Literally, all they did is get the EF version and just extend it. That's literally all they've done with the RF version. So if you've got Canon and you're on mirrorless, I would go for the EF version every single day, and I've used both of them. And I had the choice to buy one of the lenses because I said to Laura, because when I reviewed them, I was that impressed. I said to him, one of these lenses is not coming back to you. It's as simple as that, because I was so impressed. And it ended up being the EF version because I was able to adapt it to the R body and maintain aperture coupling so that when you're focusing in macro, your aperture is wide open, so it's letting more light in, which means your EVF has a higher frame rate. So it makes it easier to focus, Whereas on the manual one, you're stopping it down manually, and then there's less light getting to your sensor. And what happens on the mirrorless cameras is you can turn up the brightness on your EVF, but the frame rate drops low that you're lagging behind seeing where the object is. So definitely go for the EF version if you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbroken, he says, looking at a used 6D or maybe an 80D. I know we have an 80D here in studio that I use, but then I have...
I've got one behind me.
Yeah, so I mean, I have 10D, 20D, 30D, 40D, 5D Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 1Ds. I got 7Ds.
Is this like a pissing contest?
Yes, and and the thing is I feel like Stewart, I feel like a damn collector sometimes instead of a photographer. I got so many cameras. I don't even know what the hell to do with them.
You're collecting this stuff now.
I got to get rid of some
on my shelf for a few more cameras, so I can buy a few more cameras.
I should right behind me. I should just put a row, literally from one end to the other side, all the different cameras. That's
what I've done here. I got my first camera there. Then I got my 650D there, and that's the camera I started the YouTube channel with.
Oh, okay,
then I got the 80D, which I specifically bought for the video, just to let's face it, the 650D wasn't good at video.
Well, but before answering the question, Yeah, before answering the question, 6D or 80D, I guess the question would be is what are you going to do with it? That
Yeah.
would be the question. For video, I really like the 80D works out fantastic. What
The
are you going to...
80D was fantastic for video. It really
Yeah.
was. Launched my channel, so I'm always going to be owing the 80D to that.
Yeah, it just does a really good job.
And one thing as well is learn the system.
Right.
When I started putting out my macro adventures, I had several people contact me going, "What camera are you using?" I'd email them back saying it's the 80D, and they'd turn around and go, "I've got the same camera, but I'm not getting results like you." I'm like,
Right.
You just got to learn. You just got to learn the system. Practice, practice, practice.
No, absolutely, absolutely. That's what we say all the time. It's education is more important than gear. So if you have money to spend, it's better to spend it on the education and learning the gear that you have, because chances are you're not using it to its fullest capacity anyways. John says that he uses the EF-RF adapter and it works great with all the EF lenses. And absolutely, it's it's not even a question. That thing is just so good, and that's why I said sometime in that video that I did, I'm like, God, they might have shot themselves in the foot because it's so good that, like, for me, I would really think twice about buying an RF piece of glass if I need it for doing something, let's say non-professional or something like a video, like we're doing right now. I really don't need, like, if I have, let's say, an R6 or a 5 or whatever, I can just use anything because it's far enough away from me. I can adapt it. It works. Autofocus works. IS works. Image stabilization works, which it doesn't matter. It's locked down anyways. It should be shut off. But, everything about it just works really well. So it's hard to spend double unless you're going to be really using it. And a lot of people do that. And that's something that I would say that, what I have found lately, though, and you probably have too on your channel, is a lot of people are looking towards the used market now and saying, what can I buy that's not necessarily the latest and greatest? Because money is not like it was 2-3 years ago. So, I mean, we don't need, right, I'm preaching to the choir. I mean, we know that this is the case. So a lot of people are buying used and they're getting a lot of use out of it. I think that it's not a bad thing. It's good, and especially that you can buy that adapter for $99, or what is it? Is it 200 for the one with the filter, or 149, 150? Do you know what that is for the one that has the filter in the?
It's 400, I think, if I remember.
Is it? Is that that's not US? That's you know what? I'll look it up while we're talking here. But anyways, yes, it works out fantastic. Let me see. Let me get some more questions in here. Let's see. Ron says that he has 2 EF to RF adapters. One came with the EOS R and the other with the R6 that he has. And and that's one of the things that's really interesting too, is Canon will throw these adapters sometimes into kits. So you don't even have to buy it for $100. I mean, obviously, if you want the more expensive one that has the filter in the back that you can kind of slide in and out, which I think is phenomenal. And I think John over there, he probably would think it's phenomenal also, because he does a lot of slowing down things. He uses NDs a lot for doing his video work and his production. So having that adapter and having an ND that you don't have to put in front of a lens is probably, that would be great for him too. Let me see, what else? What other questions here? Unbroken. I think about getting the 80D. All right, yeah, the 80D is really good. Bunch of accessories, about 1,000. Okay, yep. 80D is, you can't beat an 80D. I mean, for the price, you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot. You flip it over to video, it basically is a mirrorless camera. I mean, that's it. And then you have a fully articulating back panel, so you can flip it right back to yourself. If you want, you could put a pancake lens on it, and the thing is still tiny. It's not, it's not big.
Yeah, my channel, I used the 80D with the 24mm pancake lens on it, and it was fantastic for video. It really was.
I have that lens.
In fact,
somewhere.
I did all my outdoor work with that as well. There's only one video I did outside with the R. And,
isn't that like a 2 point? Is it a 2.8? That lens?
Something it's 2.8. Yeah, 24. Yeah. EFS 24mm I used for my video, and that lens. I mean, it was I think it was £100. It was on sale, £100. I'm like, no way can £100 lens be any really good. And I bought it initially just to get started because it had the angle of view I needed for the room at the time. And when I saw the footage from it, I was like, I don't think I need to buy another lens for my purpose.
Right.
Yeah, I got to remember this is for my purpose at that time. And it was fabulous little lens that was. Really was good.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Good.
apparently they're going to be bringing a 24mm pancake to the RF system now as well.
You know,
So I'll probably end up
I
buying that
love,
one.
you know, I love the pancake lens because, you
Yeah, they
know,
are great.
you're getting a prime that's just usually tack sharp. They're usually really good. They have, you know, like this is a 2.8, so you can shoot in low light. It's really lightweight. It weighs nothing. And it just turns the whole rig into something extremely small. A lot of people have this misconception that once you go mirrorless, all of a sudden you have this smaller, you know, this smaller contraption. And the bottom line with that is it's a bunch of horse shit. I mean, it's just not the case. Usually what happens is yes, when you start putting your bigger lenses onto it and putting on, you know, f2.8 type of lenses that are expensive and heavy and big, that smaller camera, which is just negligibly smaller, I wouldn't even call it smaller, becomes big too. And then once you put it into for me, I put into a custom bracket for a lot of my event work. As soon as you get a big ass custom bracket, you throw your mirrorless camera on there and like a 70 to 200 or a 24 to 70 or something, it's massive. So you're not really, you know, the idea of going mirrorless to have something smaller is kind of a misnomer, and people get that kind of twisted.
Yeah.
But, you know, it kind of is what it is. You see more questions that pop in here? There's a lot going on here. Let me get in here.
Yeah, we got some chatter going on in the discussions.
Let's see. Up here, let's see. I think that the M6 II beats the 80D. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I like the M series. Don't get me wrong. I like the M series. Yes, mirrorless, the whole 9 yards. I think that it's pretty much on par. Equal to each other. One can do a little bit, you know, one thing better than the other. It is smaller in size than the 80D. You'll probably get a little bit more longevity when it comes to being able to be serviceable because it's newer. But that's really about it. I think it's like, you know, it's a toss-up. They both are awesome. One of the major differences, of course, is M glass to using EF glass. You know, with the 80D, you can throw on. Yeah, no, go ahead. With the 80D,
I'm getting distracted by this one asking me for some.
Oh, look at how cute. How cute. But yeah, with the 80D, you can throw on just about any glass. You can adapt anything to it. Whereas, you know, you're kind of stuck on the M series with the M6 type or any of the M's. Even the M50 was one of the things that a lot of people thought that I should buy is an M50 or what was it? The M50 or the KISS, I guess they call it, or an M50 Mark II, whatever. But it just didn't hold water. It was not great. Canon dropped the ball. And I talked about that in one of the videos. You know, the EOS M series was awesome, awesome, awesome. It was what made Canon the leading mirrorless manufacturer on the planet forever. When everyone thought it was Sony, it was actually Canon. But with the advent of the Mark II of that M series, the EOS M, it's horrible. I mean, it's basically a update to firmware and a couple of little nothings. It's literally nothing. They spent no time with that camera at all and released it literally was a year later, 2 years, whatever it was, with nothing. They didn't give the people anything to be excited about. And that's why when you look at the BCN rankings, you'll see that the Mark I of that EOS M series camera is higher than the Mark II. I think it comes in second position, only under the Sony A6400, I believe. Whereas it used to be number one forever, for years and years and years. And now Sony took over the number one position. But what is amazing with that rankings too is that we see obviously Nikon is not in the mix at all in the top 10. Because they're not doing consumer grade cameras, basically. And we see Fujifilm is now bumping up into that third position. Fujifilm is doing amazing. They are commanding 20.2% of the ILC market out of Japan, whereas Canon is only at 22.2. So you're looking at 2% difference between Canon and Fuji. So Fujifilm is right on the heels of Canon. If Canon doesn't wake up and do something with that M series, they're going to get bumped out. They're going to be in third, and we're going to still see most likely Sony with their Alpha 6400.
Do you think they'll kill off the M series in favour for an RF series camera?
You know, that's
I mean,
a really...
They are releasing a lot of, I'll say budget-friendly lenses for the RF. I mean, we've just had the 50mm RF glass. Solid piece of glass. I mean, it's basically the replacement for the Nifty 50, and we all know how much I like my Nifty 50. Brilliant little lens.
Absolutely.
But business-wise, it would make sense to get a starter camera that has an RF mount so that it's easy for people to upgrade to full frame later on.
Absolutely.
Keep them in the system.
Right. And that was one of the things that I talked about also, and I think it's very, very important that Canon keeps with some type of package that will allow people to come into their lineup and then upgrade as they grow. And their M series was kind of that. It was like their loss leader, getting people in. Then, of course, they did the EOS R, the first one, dropped the price down. Then they had the next, and we're down to about $1,000. But Sony did it so well with their Alpha.
The EOS R doesn't get enough love,
It really doesn't, because it is. You know what? It goes back to video, right? We've talked about
everybody shits on that camera. They really do. I've got 2 of them. And I love them.
It's
I really
awesome.
do.
People hate on it because of video, right?
Yeah, it all comes down to what are you using the camera for. Now, everybody hates the 4K crop on the EOS R.
Right.
But for macro video, it's a godsend because you're getting that extra reach, extra magnification when it comes to video, and you're recording insects. So it's each to their own. So one camera, which is like I might like, you might not like it because it doesn't do what you want it to do. And the only problem is unfortunately YouTubers.
No,
it's true. As soon as one YouTuber shits on something, the rest of them follow suit. They're like a bunch of sheep.
No, it's like lemmings that literally just walk off a cliff, and they're just like in procession. One by one.
This camera's got a 10% crop when you go to video. Oh,
done.
Bloody care if it's got a 10% crop.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
complete. Yeah, it's shit on immediately. So and that was it. I mean, that camera, for the price of that camera, is amazing. It does everything right. Besides, you have some things like the video, and you're double cropped in, which people get just all bent about. This is how it goes. Like you said, I agree. You get one bigger YouTuber, not like us with like 30,000 subscribers, but one of these big YouTubers with like, in our industry with 1 million subscribers, they crap all over it because of the double cropped in deal. And then that's it. And like you said, they all will go in line, in sync, and just crap all over.
Do you know why though? Do you know why? If you put out a video saying, the Canon R5 is a great camera, people will watch it. But if you put out a video saying, I hate the Canon R5, more people are going to watch that to find out why you hate it. So that's why all these YouTubers, they crap on everything, because crapping on it gets more views, I mean, know what it's like with the YouTube game. Views is money, okay? Not a lot of people know this, right? Your subscriber count does jack shit for your YouTube channel. Okay.
Facts. Yep.
It doesn't earn you any money. It doesn't do any of that. It doesn't push videos. What earns you money and pushes videos is the views, and that's why we're getting so much clickbait on YouTube lately.
Absolutely.
Because they need the views to push the channel.
Absolutely,
And,
100%.
yeah.
I mean, I brought up, matter of fact, a picture of this EOS R over there on B&H, and if anyone wants to just look at a camera and just see if it's something that you want to check out and test, rent this stuff in. I am a proponent of renting. Rent everything. If you're going to put your hard-earned money into anything, bring it in, test it, spend the $100 or whatever it is to rent it in for a few days, and you'll know really quickly if it works for your use case, because your use case is not my use case, it's not Stewart's use case, it's what you need it to do. And does this camera do what you need it to do? This reminds me of, like I said, the Alpha, the 7 Mark III. That was probably the best thing that Sony did to bring new blood into the Sony brand. That camera was under $2,000, full frame, mirrorless, and it just kicked ass. Period. And I used to all the time, I would, I'm a Canon guy. People are like, why do you keep on saying for these newcomers to go take a look at a Sony A7 III? And I said, just because it's damn good. It's the ROI, your return on investment. It's your value that you're getting.
We are not brand loyal.
No, I can care less.
I will choose whatever equipment is the best equipment for the job.
Absolutely. And look at the price here. So the A7 III right now is literally within $100 of the Canon EOS R. And they're pretty much on par. I still like a lot of things that Sony is doing in comparison to Canon. I really like their eye autofocus on the Sony. That damn thing is just, I don't even know. Like right now, I'm looking at
voodoo.
this. It's just
voodoo magic.
It's freaking magic. So I'm looking at myself, and I have the screen in front of me, guys. Okay, the screen in front of me. If I turn a little bit to the right, my left eye immediately gets highlighted. If I turn to the right, to the left, my right eye immediately gets highlighted. It literally will pop back and forth between my two eyes based on how close the eye is. I mean, yeah, it's damn magic. It is voodoo. Absolutely. I mean, so yeah, they do a really, really good job with it. So it really depends on what you're doing. That's why I bought this camera and I didn't get another 80D, and I didn't get the like a M6 or an M50 or an M50 Mark II or whatever, because this Sony ZV-1 just did what it needs to do. It's tiny, and that's it.
That's what's important. If it does the job that you need it to do, then that's a good camera for you.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean. I mean, one thing that I don't like is when you get into forums and photographers tell you how crap something is or how good something is because they have to justify their purchase.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, it's true.
Hate that. Now, it's like anybody asks me, if people ask me, what camera have you got? I'll tell them what I've got. And if they ask me what camera should I get, that's a very complicated question because I don't know what you're shooting. I don't know your shooting style for a start because different people shoot differently, And
it's
like
true.
you said, the best answer is to literally mark up which camera's got the specs that you want and then just rent it out for like 3 days or so. I guarantee within a few hours of using it, you know which one you're going to like instantly. You'll just know.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, John said. John said, the Canon M50 Mark II was a huge disappointment. And that's absolutely fact. It's the case, and it's seen in the BCN rankings. It's not doing well. Fujifilm beat that camera out. Canon, that camera fell to fourth. Fujifilm's went to third. And I just, Fuji's doing a really amazing job, and I've been talking about them and talking them up for so long. I don't shoot Fuji, but they are one of those companies that really understand their client base, and they're constantly giving back. I've talked about this in the past where you would see purchase a camera, and then all of a sudden it would go from like shooting 1080p to all of a sudden going to 4K, literally in a firmware update, and you didn't pay a dime more. Now, if Panasonic did that, for example, they would charge you a upcharge to download that firmware to get 4K. That's the difference. And that's one of the reasons why I say that just Fujifilm they're winning the hearts and minds of the people that tried their system. And now that they have the GFX, now with the 100S, for example, I mean, they are just crushing the medium format market. Yeah, so be it. It is a cropped medium format, but still it's medium format. And they're killing it. Now, Hasselblad and Phase and all the rest of them, they're just not, they're hating Fuji. They're hating it. And Fuji's using Sony
it's like this,
sensors.
Right? If you look after your customer, that customer will return for repeat purchases.
Absolutely.
If you screw over the customer, he ain't going to buy a new lens or camera from you. He's going to jump ship and go somewhere else. You know,
Absolutely.
it's the same with anything, computer equipment, anything like that. For instance, I've got a Logitech. Don't hold it against me. I've got a Logitech keyboard. I've had 3 in the last year. Every single one has had keystroke issues, like a double tap, or you press a key and nothing happens, and stuff like that. And you know what? I can't even get Logitech to actually answer an email.
Yeah.
So what do I do? What do I do? Do I keep pursuing them? No. What I'll do is I'll make a video of me setting my Logitech keyboard on fire in the garden and go and buy a Corsair or something instead, you know? And that's what happens. So, you know, once you get these customers on board, you've got to look after them, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't, they'll just go.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into some of these questions. Let me just scroll up here. Let's see. I love this. Paul, he says, YouTube is entertainment. It says YouTube has replaced television. It's funny, that you say that, Paul. I kind of agree with you. I agree with you. A lot of times, even at night, I'll be home with the kids and the kids will go to bed, and then I'll look at this big 75-inch TV that we just bought, right? And instead of
dick measuring there.
it's so, right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I don't even go to I literally have 400 channels on Dish Network is what we have over here. I don't watch any of it. I'll throw on YouTube and watch some of the creators that I enjoy watching and just surf basically.
There's nothing better, right, than getting a suggestive video that pops up in your particular niche. So in mine, it's macro.
Right.
Where there's a fellow photographer who's just started out YouTube and has put up a video that you sit there and makes me go, wow, that is good. You know what I mean? And then you start watching another one and then you end up binge watching his old channel and you just send him a message, you just send him a message of support. Say, I've watched your video. I love it. Carry on doing what you're doing. And it makes their day because they go, oh, wow, thank you very much. And it makes your day because you're watching something new from somebody who hasn't got a budget.
Yeah.
And yet they're putting out content that looks absolutely fantastic,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is too, is folks don't they don't realize, we both have our channels. We both have 30,000 people that subscribe to our channels and hopefully enjoy what they see on a weekly basis. But a lot of them that aren't in the know don't realize what goes into creating this stuff. And, a lot of them believe that you can just sit behind, a camera and just, let it just wing it. After a certain period of time, yes, you can kind of do that, but there's still editing involved. There's still a lot that goes into it. For example, with mine, I know you put out about one video, let's say a week generally.
At the moment, it's one video a week.
And I started out with one video a week. I originally started out with Digital Photography Cafe doing, a show with Trevor Current. And then we were doing one video a week. Then I started my own channel, the JCristina channel, and I started doing one video and then 2 videos a week. Now I'm doing anywhere from 3 to 4 videos a week. And if you just look at the time that goes into that, it's a lot. It is a lot. And for me to do a video in a day, let's say, I'm usually in studio by about 6 a.m. I'm doing a couple of notes and then I'll record and then I'll start editing and a video will be up before noon, before lunchtime. And then for the rest of the day, I'm doing client work. And then usually at night, I'm probably at a client's location doing more work. So the entire morning goes into this.
Can you hold the fort down for just 2 minutes while I go and tell my children off because they're running around outside?
No, go do it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll go and put my head nice and big for a minute. So a lot goes into this, guys, and I can't tell you, I'm sure Stewart would agree with me, how just important it is when we get a feedback of any kind, a comment or whatever that shows appreciation for what we do. It really means a lot. I'm one of those creators that I will go over every single comment and I will definitely read every single comment, period, but I will answer probably about 90%, 95% of all those comments. And that takes a long time to do also because I'm kind of here not just to hang out and just talk and talk. I'm not selling anything besides my own product, and that's it. But I do it because I really love doing it. Okay. And like Stewart, I know we've had conversations before talking about this, that being able to get that input from you guys and spending the time with us and being able to put comments down there below each video and talking about whatever you want to talk about, and then also thanking us for doing what we do, it really, really, really means a lot. So, you know, for me, I'm sure it goes, it's, you know, the same goes for you. You would really appreciate the people that you're basically working for by creating this content for them. And when they say, hey, you know, thank you so much, or I look inside the chat window and all of a sudden there's like, you know, a $5 super chat, or someone will subscribe to the channel and then they'll become a member of the channel and they'll give $5 a month or whatever, or they'll go over to our Discord server over at community.jcristina.com and hang out there with us and then become a member over there or whatever and contribute. Even though it's a small amount, it means a lot. It really means a lot.
It does. It does. Especially when, you know, we don't have sponsors.
Right.
Well, I don't. And I don't know about you. I don't know if you've got any sponsors that come to your channel. So, you know, we've not got that Squarespace money that's coming in that every other YouTuber has, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
every little bit of support you can get off the users is always grateful for that. All the
No,
time,
absolutely,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely.
'Cause at
So
the end
you
of
know,
that, I can go as far as this, right? Basically, the supporters of the channel are the reason you're still doing the channel. Because if the supporters weren't there, I'd have to go flick burgers in McDonald's. And if I'm flipping burgers at McDonald's, I ain't got time to do YouTube.
right,
Not with four
right,
kids running around the house. Do you know what I mean?
right.
So it's those supporters where they come on, they give you a thumbs up, they give a comment. Even just a thumbs up and a comment helps out a lot, because it tells YouTube people are enjoying the video and it pushes the video out more. You got the thumbs up, the comment, the like, they join the membership, or they'll go over to the website and purchase a texture pack, for instance. All those people are keeping me doing YouTube so that everyone else gets to enjoy the content that we come out with, you know.
Oh, absolutely. You know, let me see. Good for Nothing says, I have all the gear, but I can't come up with a unique or an interesting subject to photograph. I don't want to copy what others did. Any suggestions? And you know, I've spoken about this before, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think 99% of everything has already been done. So it's a copy of a copy of a copy. The thing that changes.
I can speak from experience, because that's how I was when I first started. And
Absolutely.
I didn't go anywhere. My photography didn't go anywhere. No one noticed me and nothing, because I was trying to do something unique.
Right.
When you stop doing that and then go take, I don't know, 3 of your favorite photographers where you've looked at their image and you're like, wow, I really like that image. Then recreate that image for yourself, just as a learning or practice. You recreate it and then you go, right. Once you've done that, you go, what can I do to improve it or change it? And while you're going through the process of copying, copy is a harsh word, replicating a person's image, you come up with different ideas that work. Now, I did it when I first started macro. I looked at Thomas Shahan's jumping spider images. And I'm like, that's the type of image I want to create. And as through doing that, I started branching out then and doing water drops and other insects and stuff like that. It just starts coming to. So I would suggest, if you've not got anything to photograph, then photograph something that someone else has already done, just so you're actually actively getting your camera out and actively using it and, you know, practicing. That's what I would do.
Absolutely.
Something will come to you while you're doing it.
Yeah, and just take a different, you know, make like spin it a little bit differently than the way they did it. Maybe light it differently. But I do like the idea of copying what someone great has done to see if you're able to replicate it, because that is learning 101. That's how you learn. Now, that's not something that you're going to go and put out there and say, oh, look what I did is basically identical to this guy. But now all of a sudden you figured out how to do it, how to accomplish that. And then once you've done that, then you can spin it. You can change it slightly. And now all of a sudden it's something that is basically your own at that point. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can bring up some of the photographs from that we did together during the macro work that we did, because there was a lot of great photos. I'm gonna bring them up here. Let me grab one of your jumpy spiders, because I know when we did this, when we showed these images, people were like, "Oh my God, that is kind of like a scary spider a little bit." But this is not even just a scary spider. This is one of your pets, which is even more odd. But here we go. Let me go ahead. I'm going to share that. All right, there you go. That's one of Stewart's spiders, one of his pet spiders, I guess, right? Is that the coolest thing or what? Let me zoom in a little bit on those eyes. Look at those eyes, just looking into your soul. There it is. Love it. So,
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
I'm going to leave
So
that up there.
that is, if I remember right, that's Doris, I think. If I remember right, that's her name. But yeah,
This is the cutest thing. I don't
yeah,
know,
I
scary
love
and
photographing them
cute. I don't
things.
know.
I was having a conversation with a friend today, and they're going right now. They're going about, if you could do anything, what would it be? Like if you had a sponsor that would say to you, right, here's a check, yeah,
Yeah.
and you can do anything you want, do any type of content for your channel, what would it be? And my answer would be, I'd love to travel the world photographing different jumping spider species. So such as go to Australia and photograph the peacock jumping spiders, go to Florida and get the regals, because that's where it all started. So obviously at some point I'll end up going there, photographing the same spiders I've been photographing for years, but photographing in their natural environment, proper wild ones and that. And I'd love to do that. Just go around photographing different jumping spiders, get a catalogue or a portfolio of all the different species of jumping spiders that I've seen. It'd be wonderful, that would.
Yeah, no.
Only one issue with that though.
What's
I don't
that?
like flying.
No, that's going to be an issue. That will definitely be an issue. I love this picture. Let me see if I can bring this one up. Let me put this one up here. Look at that. That is a beautiful, beautiful picture. This is an ant, and if I remember correctly, pushing like a droplet of honey. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
It's having a drink. It's having a drink. I don't know if he was drinking, because they go that fast you can't really tell, and I'm too busy looking at the EVF. I can't remember if he had a drink or if he was just looking, going, what is this? Let's have a look.
Yeah, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah, what am I doing with this?
Let me see. Let's look at some more of these comments down here. Dave's World says, in the UK, if YouTube has replaced your TV channel watching, then you need a TV license to watch. Yeah, it seems like everything these days is being taxed, or there has to be some type of licensing fee, or there has to always be something. They can never just leave stuff alone. But yeah,
No.
that seems to be the gist behind it. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go while we got that image up. Let's see what other questions. I'll have you go through them also.
Just to let the viewers know, we can't comment on other people's channels. Okay. I don't know if you know about this, but if we was to comment on other people's channels in a negative light, YouTube can shut down your YouTube channel, saying it's bullying.
Yeah.
I am reading the comments, and I do agree with a lot of what people are saying, but I can't comment it on here because YouTube, they don't like us talking about other YouTubers. They really don't like it, so we can't really break the rules when it comes to that. Because without warning, Joe will have no YouTube channel, and I don't think you want that.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. We always have to play by the rules. There's always someone bigger than we are, and then you have to go by those rules. We talked about, I think it was alcohol over in your location. If you had a drink, let's say, then all of a sudden they can just basically shut down your channel. Here in the U.S.,
shut down for any reason.
Yeah, they just shut you down. Just
all they got to do is tick the box that says you've gone against community guidelines, and that's it. Your channel's gone.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's mad. It's mad that they could end your career overnight if they wish to.
I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. Let me see here. Let's get into some of these. There's so many. Let's see. You guys could be worse. You could watch. Yeah, I know. Yeah. With this. Yeah.
Who said? Is that Ron C? Yeah, that's a good one. That is.
Yeah. We'll have to. We'll skip it. Let me see. Yeah, I know.
You still got the ant picture up, yeah?
Yeah, we have that one up. Let me see. Maybe this one would be good one. I love this. Is that beautiful?
Is this a yeah?
It's the
Thought it would be.
body.
I did not know it was going to be that one.
Look at that. It's
Yeah,
just so nice. I don't know how she felt about this, but
she
so
was all right
nice.
actually with it.
I just love,
She was okay with it.
people say, okay, so this is a woman's body and there's like this tarantula, this big spider or whatever. But what I see is this negative space here to the positive space to the, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a really nice shot. Period. Let me back off all the way. It's got great lines to it. I absolutely love it. Here's another one that's very similar to that. Let me bring this one up. And as you can see here, I mean, if you just go back, squint, blur your eyes, it looks like an hourglass to me. It's just got
Mm.
beautiful symmetry. I just love the way this looks. It's artistic license here, so you don't see too much. I just love it. I just love it. And
We did have a play with. I mean, it, let's see if I can word this properly so we don't get an R rating. But basically, that spider went everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
did say to her, I could do those type of images for you, but they will never get published on my network because I like artistic,
right,
implied nude.
right,
I'm a
right.
fan of implied nude because it leaves something for the imagination. Do you know what I
So
mean?
I bet,
And yeah, that ring, you couldn't control it. You couldn't control that spider. It went everywhere, and it just so happened that it just went in certain spots that looked good.
yeah.
I mean, I got 100, 200 more images that just look awful. And it's like we were saying before, the amount of shots you get accurate when it comes to macro are very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
small.
No, so
And
I bet
it was the
you.
same with that.
So I'm going to share something that a lot of people probably don't even know. That for about 3 years, about 2.5, 3 years, I did boudoir photography,
Mm,
and it was a long period of time. It was a awesome period of time. And my wife is an MUA, so she's a licensed cosmetologist. She does hair and makeup for TV, for movies and this type of thing. And we worked together on the boudoir. And it was nice because obviously she's a woman, she's my wife, so the women were very relaxed. And we got some amazing shots, some really good stuff.
yeah,
And it was the idea of doing everything tastefully. The women just absolutely loved it to a point that each year they would come back and schedule another boudoir session as they got older to kind of memorialize their progression in time and still how they looked beautiful as time went on. So it was quite a thing. I really enjoyed it. I wish, my wife and I had more time to be able to do that, but it was
mm,
empowering, absolutely empowering women. I remember some women that were so skittish, self-conscious, and they'd had a real hard time behind the camera. They had a hard time finding like they were divorced, let's say, finding new people. They just had a hard time. They
yeah.
After these sessions, they had such a feeling of empowerment. It was amazing to see the transformation. Unbelievable. So, I'm definitely a proponent of boudoir or any type of photography like that. It is definitely empowering. Whereas some people would look at it, it's like, oh, it's negative, but it is absolutely 110% not negative. It is as positive as you can even just dream of.
Yeah.
Now,
I
obviously, it has
do.
to be
I do
a
want to do
safe
more
place.
shots like that. I want to do more shots. More sessions. I've got ideas, but the whole situation at the moment prevents us from doing it because we're still locked down in the UK. So we can't get together to do anything. But the funny thing, I mean, Unbroken just said he's made a joke about did Spider get a bad PCR CV test and all that. The test shot for this, we actually had two test shoots before we did the live shoot. The first one we used jumping spiders, and I was placing jumping spider on certain parts of her body to see how it looked. And we agreed, although it was a cute image, you couldn't tell what part of the body the jumping spider was on because it's so small. So
Uh-huh.
then I went out and I bought a prop spider about this big. And we had Kirsty come over with her clothes on, obviously, and we were placing this spider all over the body, testing out the lighting setup and all that, just to see. Mainly, I wanted to nail the lighting, because there's no way I wanted to mess around with lighting while there's a live tarantula running around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Basically, you got to put that tarantula on, nail the shot, and the way you nail the shot is the lighting is already set up and done. So we did that. We agreed on what lighting looked good, and then it was literally a case of getting this spider onto her body. And she was nervous at first, but so what we did is we had her handle it off camera first, and then she realised that they're not as scary as you think they are.
I think the
hardest thing for her, I'll tell you what the hardest thing for her was. Okay, the hardest thing was, if I was to get a headshot of her face in, the hardest thing was for her to keep a straight face, because the spider kept tickling her. You know, little paws,
from all the little hairs,
and they're constantly tickling. She's constantly laughing all the time when we're trying to do the shoot. It's quite funny.
What you just said, I want to kind of parlay into that. The idea of getting the light right before you actually got there and did the session, did the shoot, or whatever, before she got the tarantula placed on her. That goes for everything. Yes. I did, I've been doing photography for a long period of time, but I also do a lot of events like galas and stuff. Some of the bigger events are down by me over at Mar-a-Lago, the old president's home. So we would have large events, and we would have events where you would have a lot of famous people. And the thing is you only have like 10 seconds with them, 5 seconds, 20 seconds max, right? So if you didn't get it right, you didn't get it at all. And the idea of being able to get your light right, know your gear inside and out, understand everything so that you can make adjustments on the fly is imperative. Some of the shots that I remember getting that were amazing were by their pool over at Mar-a-Lago. And now their pool in the backyard, let's call it backyard, is this unbelievably beautiful, beautiful pool where the entire base, the whole bottom of the pool is, let's say, lined with filaments, like fibers. So it literally looks like looking at the stars inside the pool. So there's like twinkling stardust inside the pool. So trying to capture that with people and getting everything just right was not easy to do, but that's the kind of stuff. Getting, knowing the gear, getting it right before, and then once you get there to be able to do it, be able to bang it out. And that is very important, especially, look, you're dealing with a tarantula, and same thing with me dealing with famous people. You don't have a lot of time, and knowing the gear is the number one thing before even doing this kind of stuff. So once again, it goes back to education, right? Knowing what you have and work around all the deficiencies that the cameras have, because not every camera is perfect, right? You got to know what it can do, what it can't do. So let's take a look at some of these other comments. I just want to say two good...
one from Unbroken on about do tarantulas bite. They can give a nasty nip if you piss them off. I can tell you that. Which is why I had a spider wrangler for that particular shoot, and she's that much of an expert when it comes to tarantulas. She could tell you what the spider was thinking at any given time, and she basically said, if the spider's walking along, shoot away, no problems. If he stops moving, stop shooting.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. And then because for instance, on that picture that you're showing, his legs are fully spanned out. If the legs are out and showing, you're perfectly okay. Go ahead. But if he goes into a ball like that and his legs tuck in, show's over, time to swap to a different spider, because that spider's had enough. He doesn't want to play no more. He needs a break. And we had 2 or 3 spiders for that particular shoot. And what we would do is rotate the spiders. So when one spider gets a bit, you know what, I've had enough of all this flickering lights and stuff, yeah. You put him back in the enclosure, get another one out for another 5 or 10 minutes. And there was only out for 5 or 10 minutes at a time. Right. Because we already knew what the backdrop was. We knew what poses she wanted to do. We knew what lighting was going to be. All that was already set up. We could literally put the spider on, take the pictures, take the spider off. It's like if you piss off a tarantula, its front legs will rear up, and if it rears up, don't be anywhere near it, because it's going to strike at you, and it can give a nasty. I don't know if it's a bite. I don't know if bite is the correct term, because it's not actually its mouth bite, it's its fangs that get you.
Right.
But it's almost like a bee sting, and they can get nasty. But the worst thing off a tarantula is its hairs. Those are the worst things.
Really?
The first defense mechanism that tarantula will do is it'll flick its back legs, and all these little hairs go up into the atmosphere. And they got barbs on them. These hairs are little barbs on, like fishing hooks.
So you can't even get them out.
If they get into your eyes, your eyes, they're turning red and watering. That's nasty. That's the worst thing.
Wow. I have to say, Too Good 79, thank you so much. Really appreciate the contribution. I do appreciate that super chat. Let's see here. David, I like this too. David's World says, I feel that it's wrong that people give thumbs down without saying why. Well, people do that all the time because, sometimes people will come into a channel and they'll expect one thing, but they won't get that. Or sometimes people will thumbs down just because they don't like you to begin with. I had a period of time where literally like 2 months, there was someone that I would go live, or I would go live with a video, and before the video would actually start playing, there's already a thumbs down. So I don't know.
Did you know this though, right? It doesn't matter if you press thumbs up or thumbs down, it's still classed as interaction on the video, therefore it will push the video. So all the haters that are coming out and clicking thumbs down on your video are actually helping your video to be seen by more people. I think that's comical. I really do.
People, they don't know that. They don't know it. So I don't, it's all good to me. I don't really worry about it too much. I just, for me, I like to be able to give as much as, I can give, and that's it. There's only so much that you can do, and that's the end of it, and same thing with you. I'm doing now 3 to 4 a week. You're doing 1 a week, but there might come a time.
Ramping up as soon as this tooth has been fixed, because I've broken a tooth eating KFC. So now I've got massive toothache. I think it's starting to turn into an abscess because of it. I'm in the dentist Monday, so let's play it safe and say that for next week I probably won't be a video. I might go live. I might do a live or something.
Right.
But then after that, I should be able to ramp it up to 2 or 3 videos a week, hopefully, unless I break something else, of course.
Jeez, I can't even imagine. So Stewart's here with us, hanging out, and he's got a broken tooth and he's on painkillers. So if he says anything kind of off, then you know why. Okay, you know why. I appreciate you being here.
As soon as this live stream is over, I'm on the vodka, so I'll be even worse later on.
I don't know. Vodka and painkillers. I don't know. That's gonna be a harsh one. That's gonna. So you have like vodka, painkillers, a little bit of food, and like a Red Bull, right? And then a jacuzzi, and then you're set.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'll be in the hot tub chilling out. If the wife is late back from work, tough crap. I'm going in anyway.
That's it. You're in. That's it.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. But
let me see. Fractal Builder says I might convert my camera to a full spectrum this month. That would be interesting. Doing those conversions. If you have extra cameras, there's a lot of people have taken older cameras, older DSLRs that they don't use anymore, convert them to infrared, converting them to full spectrum, converting them to whatever, and then using them specifically for that. Infrared was really a big thing about 5-6 years ago or so, before the whole HDR thing happened, and then everyone went nuts, and every photograph looked like crap after that. But I like it. I think it's really cool. That would be really neat to do. I'd love to see some of the photos.
One of the things I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to put a time frame to it, because the subscribers will hold you to it if you put a time frame to it. But I am going to be doing a lot of ultraviolet fluorescence photography in the future. I don't know if you know what that is. Basically, you hit a subject with ultraviolet light, and then you capture the fluorescence that it gives out. Right. And insects, they glow. Certain insects, I should say, glow under ultraviolet light. Nice. The downside of it is you've got to convert your flash to do this type of photography. So the camera itself doesn't get converted, because you're still capturing visible light. You're not capturing ultraviolet light. Right. But your flash has to be converted. And you need about 3 of them. Ulrich's off already. I'll get to you, Ulrich, in a minute. You're going to need at least 3 of them, and they cost upwards of $500 each to convert.
How much?
For me
really?
yeah, because the filters cost a lot of money to do, because you need a couple of filters on the front of the flash. You got to take out the ultraviolet element, because on the flash you got an element that blocks ultraviolet light. So you have to take that out first, and then put in an ultraviolet filter. I'm not going to get into the details, because obviously I'll do that when I do my videos. And then on top of that, you've got another filter that blocks out the visible light. So literally all the flash is producing is ultraviolet light. That is it. Then you get a nice pitch black room. So all you're seeing in the image is the fluorescence of the ultraviolet.
Right.
But like I said, for me to start that, it's going to cost me $1.5 grand. And again, I'm going to be able to do that with support of the YouTube supporters. You know, the more I get, the more I'm going to be able to explore different types of photography like that. And I think it's going to be fun to do. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's that's what keeps us going, right?
Okay, so Ulrich's asking when, Stewart, when, and this goes back to people keep asking me when I'm going to start doing the ultraviolet. So, do you want to ask him that question that I said before? He's asking me when am I going to start doing ultraviolet. So let's ask his question to him, shall we?
Yeah, I would like to see maybe a YouTube channel possibly come out.
That might
soon.
be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be very interesting, because I'm sure, as far as my understanding is, there's a lot of talent there that people can possibly enjoy and actually watch. So maybe we'll have you here on this channel and get you kind of like, cut your teeth, and then you can send some people over to your new channel that you're working on, which I'm sure you're working on it, right?
Ulrich you are working on your channel, Ulrich.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Factual build, it says search for Don Komareska. Don Komareska is the one who's actually teaching me how to do it. So when I'm ready to pull the trigger and get all the flashes, it's actually Don who's going to be helping me. And I'm hoping by then I'll have a new computer, so I'll be able to do what we're doing now, and I can have Don on the channel and have a bit of to and fro about the ultraviolet.
Let's see. Nash says, have you photographed the Sydney funnel? I guess it's the web spider. I'm put that into a highlight. Is that something that you photographed? It's called the Sydney funnel web spider.
No.
I'll
have to have a look. No, I hardly ever leave the country, I'll be honest with you. if I have to use a plane to get there, there's a fat chance
it just doesn't happen.
There, you know what I mean? I keep saying, if I ever get an offer to go to Australia to photograph spiders, or to Florida, do you know anyone in Florida that could show me around?
Yeah, I think I know someone. Yeah, you can fly right. You can fly right into here to West Palm Beach, and we can go throughout here.
I keep saying I might have to get on a boat instead. I can do boats, I just can't do planes. But
you have that. Well, that's gonna be a long boat ride. Let me see. Unbroken here. He said. Let me see. There was. Let me see. He was talking about fireflies. I missed a comment. It's somewhere up here. Anyways, he was talking about fireflies and how humans actually give off small amounts of emission, small amounts of glow. What just happened, which was really sad, is on my patio, which is screened in, there was this thing running on the floor, right? And I'm like, what the heck? I thought it was like a roach or something. I saw it on the corner of my eye, and I stepped on it. Come to find out, it was a firefly. I felt so bad, because I love fireflies. When I was a kid, we would get little baby jars, and fill them up with like a ton of fireflies, then put little holes in the top and then screw it. And you would literally have all of these fireflies inside there glowing. The amount of iridescence or a luminescence of the firefly and the liquid or whatever it is inside, because it's obviously a chemical reaction, it's amazing how bright they can get. So that was kind of sad. But yeah, fireflies. We do have fireflies where I am here in Florida, but there is a way to attract them with certain flowers. So I got to research that a little bit more and put those flowers out back. We're sitting on like a 5-acre tract. So we have a lot of land, a lot of property to be able to do whatever we want to do. You know, my son has a chicken coop, so we get like 10, 12 eggs sometimes in a day. It's kind of crazy. We get a ton of truly organic eggs, right? Not the organics that you see like
Yeah.
in the store where like, yeah, this is an organic egg. It's not really. I think it's like 15% or 20% organic to be able to label something organic here in the US, something stupid like that. So I don't know how it is in your country. Let's see what other questions we have here.
Let's have a look.
We're talking about the spiders and whatnot. Yeah, the world's most deadliest spider, Jace.
Mm.
Yeah. We don't want to play with that. I don't know. Do spiders glow? Fluorescence for fluorescent.
Certain ones do.
Certain.
It's mostly the eyes. The eyes can glow a nice bright blue colour, especially jumping spiders. Right, that's something I'm going to explore though when I start doing it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just not looking forward to spending the money to actually do it.
Yeah. No, I know.
I mean, it's like Don Commerce said, because I mean, obviously I've been talking to him about it. Said if you're going to do it, you've got to get the proper filters. Don't do a half-assed job at it. Do you know what I mean? Because then you're going to get visible light leaks, and your image is going to start looking purple rather than fluorescent.
Yeah. So here's that spider. That's the spider that you have. And those eyes are glowing a little bit blue. I don't know if that is that. I don't think when we talked about it.
That's just visible light. That is.
Okay. It's not. Gotcha.
The reflection there is from the diffuser that I use. It's like a wraparound bonnet diffuser, and that's what gives the reflection in the eyes. And I love that reflection. So, whenever I see a jump spider, I have to get that bonnet diffuser onto the camera. I've tried
that looks so cool.
twin macro diffusers and all that. There's nothing wrong with them. I just prefer that look because it gives kind of like a human look to the eye with the way that it's round rather than being just a specular highlight like you would get from a standard flash.
Right.
I just think it looks really nice.
Ron says, Stewart, where are you from?
I am from the UK, in Cannock, the UK. Don't hold that against me. It's really... I'm really an okay guy, okay?
There you go.
Don't hold it against me. Yeah, Cannock, UK.
So what I'm going to do is we've been on here for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to start we're going to start closing it down. Any kind of questions that people have, they can throw them in there now, and we'll probably close it down in 5 minutes. But this is a fun kind of like hanging out and talking about what went on for the week, like a week in review, and maybe we'll do some more of this in the future. And just talk about whatever you talked about on your channel, whatever I talked about on my channel, anything that's new news that just came out for Friday. Maybe we can do some more of that type of like weekend review because I like it. It's fun. I like to be able to do this live thing because we can answer questions. And if anyone has a question,
I do like the interactive stuff.
Right.
Live. I don't do enough lives though. I need to get onto that. I really do. I need my subscribers to keep kicking me up the ass to do more lives.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I like it because of the interaction and be able to talk with people. It just works out really well. So if there's anything that you guys want to talk about when it comes to the topics of hand this week, which is that 100 RF that we were talking about earlier, of course, the Fujifilm being poised to take over Canon in the mirrorless ILC market, probably pretty soon because Fujifilm is sitting at 22 or 20% of the market and Canon is at 22%, where of course you have Sony up there at like 33% with their what was it, 6400.
I can give a tip to Canon if they want to clinch the market. Just release the goddamn R7, yeah? That's what everybody wants. They want the R7, man. I'm telling you.
No, that's
people
true.
want the R7.
And
I will definitely, if they do bring out an R7 and it is a crop sensor, I will definitely rent that out to test it on macro because the crop sensor gives you a nice advantage to macro.
Yeah,
because you've got an extra reach, so it'd be nice to try it out.
So also, and I spoke about this R7. And I said that the R7 will be a replacement of the 7D, the 7D Mark II, right? But on the R side. But what I thought that would be awesome for them to do was go down the same path as Sony and use the E-mount for their APS-C as well as their full frame. So if Canon was able to do that, and have an R7, but still
Yeah,
use
definitely.
RF lenses, but only use the center portion, which is the best, actually, the best of the lens, right? Only use the center portion of the lens. That would be amazing because now you have something similar to what Sony's doing. They have one mount for two different bodies, APS-C as
Yeah.
well as full frame. Canon could do that also by bringing people into the R7, let's call it cheaper, instead of full frame, get them on board, and then all
Budget.
of those RF lenses, right? And all those
It's
RF
not cheap,
lenses.
it's budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's but let's budget, but it's not cheap.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now they
yeah.
can have those RF lenses and they can move forward into their full frame if they want to. I think that would
Yeah, you
be
can just swap them
amazing.
around. It's the way forward. One mount to rule them all, basically. So RF mount, whether you're using an entry level camera or the top end camera, you know, so long as they bring out the budget friendly lenses, you know, like the 50mm, 24mm. What's the other ones? You got the 85 millimeter lenses and stuff like that. So long as they've got all those to support the lower end budget cameras, then it'll be a win-win. Because then
Right.
when people go, oh, I want to upgrade a full frame, they haven't got that issue of I've got EFS lenses that don't work on full frame cameras, which means not only you got a 4K for your full frame, but then you've got to replace your lenses as well when you upgrade. That was, you know, the current modeling that they were doing. Whereas if you've just got one mount, you can just swap your bodies around any way you want, you know.
Absolutely. And that goes back to your question when we were talking about the M series. Will the will the M series go bye-bye? Will they discontinue the KISS and just bring in that R7 almost as a replacement of the KISS and then lower the price down? The only problem with that
Yeah.
is I don't think that they'll do it because the Canon EOS 7D and 7D Mark II are expensive cameras. Even though they're APS-C, they are definitely not the price range of like an EOS M series camera at $500. The R7 would be $1,000. You know, it would be
Well,
right around that
here's
price
the
point.
thing, though. Here's the thing, and we are going to be going on a while, but
Yeah.
the entry level cameras for me, I don't consider the M series as entry level cameras. I look at they're actually called like 800Ds over here. I think are they called XTI or something like that in America? I can't remember.
Oh no,
But those
no, it's the KISS. The M, I think
the
yeah,
KISS,
well,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah, the KISS.
Yeah,
Overseas the KISS.
those are entry level cameras. However, what a lot of people don't know is that camera will use the full frame lens.
Right.
So if you start out on a crop sensor camera and you're thinking about, like, you know, further on down your journey, you're going to be upgrading to a full frame camera, then don't buy EFS lenses. Just go for the full frame lenses like the 50mm Nifty
Right.
50. That lens is full frame and it works on both crop sensor and full frame camera. So you can take that
Absolutely.
lens with you when you upgrade, you know. And that's what they need to do. They need to make it so that I'm sure they can figure something out where if you're going from your entry level camera to a full frame, you can take your lenses with you. And that's what they need to do.
I do. I agree. I agree 110%. We'll see what ends up happening with Canon, because Canon is one of those companies that they love to neuter everything and then just throw a wrench in. They just love to throw a wrench in.
Yeah.
So they did. Okay. So they did something
I
amazing.
often PM Canon when I'm frustrated with something and I'm like, what have you done this for? And the only answer you get is, we'll pass on your inquiry to the technical department. That's basically an answer of, mess off, we're not going to answer you.
Absolutely.
So John has just said the RF 35mm f1.8 is a good and expensive lens relatively. That's the exact lens I'm using here now, is the RF 35mm. Fantastic lens. I use it on all my YouTube videos.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's sharp. It's clean.
It's sharp at 1.8. In fact, I use that lens for the spider shoot as well on the model's body.
right.
I use that lens and the IRIX 150mm macro lens for that shoot. Fantastic little lens.
Yeah, I mean, all the RF glass for the most part is really quite good. One of the other things that we were talking about was that Canon was going to do a equivalent to a high megapixel version of their 5D, let's say, which would be their R5. And I put out there, a piece like, I don't know, for like last week sometime. And I said, yeah, they probably will come out with something called like an R5S. Why is that? Because they came out with a 5DS and a 5DSR. So chances are, for me, I don't know if that's the case, but they're going to come out with like let's call it an R5S that has 80 to 100 megapixels. Period. Now, is it out yet? No, but I guarantee you they're working on it. That's something
Yeah,
they're
going to
talking
have
about
one
too.
come out. And I'm hoping, I really do hope, I can't remember which one it is. You're going to have to remind me, right? But you got the 5DS and the 5DSR. One of them had the filter removed.
That's the R. So so they had the
Yeah.
5DS and the
That,
5DSR. The
if
R,
they could
they
bring
removed
out
the
a
filter.
mirrorless camera without the filter, that's the one you'd want to go for if you're a macro photographer, because your macro images will be sharper because you haven't
Right,
got the
or an
cancellation
optional,
filter.
right? Or an optional, like
Yes,
where you can actually turn it
optional
on
would be
and
nice.
off,
Yeah,
right? So
that
you
would be
don't have.
nice.
So
Yeah.
if you don't know what we're talking about
We
like
are,
a
we are
low
talking about
pass.
Canon. We are
Right.
talking about Canon. They never give you options.
No, that's right. The idea is
You get what you got.
yeah, that's it,
Shut
right?
up.
Exactly. You get what you got,
Yeah.
and that's it. It's not like Fuji where they
Hey,
keep
it
giving
doesn't
more.
it doesn't matter if it's an RS or an RSR or 100 megapixels, 200 megapixels. It doesn't matter. As long as Canon gets the marketing right, it'll be okay.
Right.
Okay?
And they don't always
Yeah.
do that, for sure. But yeah, if you don't know
Oh,
what the
God, no.
filter is, basically what Canon did was they had the 5D. They came out with the 5DS, which was a high megapixel camera. It was like 50, 60 megapixels, whatever. Then they came out with the same version, the 5DSR, and the R was with the low pass filter taken out of it. So you had a little bit more moire, you had more, issues, but it was sharper because you didn't have that extra filtration, that extra filter in there. So if they were able to make it an option where you can turn it on and off, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be something very big. That goes back to the idea of them making a curved sensor. If they were able to make that curved sensor, it would be amazing, because now all of a sudden your resolution would double. Your resolution in the corners of that curved sensor would also more than double, more like 5 times be more resolution in the corners, better. And all of a sudden your glass would become smaller too, because you don't need all of the optics inside your lens to rebend a curved image to something flat. And that's what happens in all photography, right? You're coming in with this curved lens, this curved image, and then it goes through all this series of optics to flatten it. Well, when it flattens stuff, you lose resolution, you lose light, there's a lot of loss. So by having a curved sensor, that would be amazing. And Canon had I think it was last year I talked about it. They were talking about coming out with a curved sensor along with Sony and a lot of other ones, Nikon, working on it. But what they did different is they said we were going to come out with a curved sensor that was malleable, that would change based on the lens that was attached to the body. That would be the revolution. That would be the difference between night and day when it comes to photography as of today. That would be amazing.
Definitely.
That would be also online or on par with a global shutter, if whoever comes out with that. So there's a lot of things that are.
No matter what they do, you've got to support the old equipment. It's like an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Right.
Nothing pees me off more than when you buy a new Xbox, then you got to buy all your bloody games again because it's not backwards compatible. It really annoys the hell out of me, And it's the same with the cameras. If they bring out a curved sensor, I wouldn't jump on board if I've got to replace all my lenses. Because then first of all, they've got to release the lenses to support it, and then you've got to wait for the third-party lenses to catch up and support it. You're talking years before you'd even look at it. But if I can have that latest body and slap on my 10-year-old EF glass and it still works, brilliant. Sign me up. Where do I sign up?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Now, if they were able to make it malleable and change based on the lens, now all of a sudden, it would be a moot point, because any glass would work in accordance. Obviously, there's probably what they're having a problem when it comes to the flex, and dead center of the wafer, that chip, let's say, or whatever, that surface, the CMOS sensor itself, dead center is where they keep splitting it. So they're bending it, and then it gets to a certain amount of pressure, and then it will snap. So they're trying more and different things to be able to make it so it's malleable.
Also, when it comes to new cameras, right, I'd like camera companies to forget trying to break records and give customers what they want. For instance, let's take the focus bracketing on the R cameras. Okay, the R5 does focus bracketing. It's it's almost a £4,000 camera, so yeah, it does it. My R doesn't do it, right? It's a cheaper camera, so you would expect options to be cut out of it. The problem is the RP, which is the lower end to this camera, does it. And I'm like, what? Well, why is it that the RP can do it, and the R can do it, but the R doesn't? Why can't you uniform your system so that as you go down in budget, you remove options, but a camera that's costs less shouldn't have an option that the more expensive camera has got, if it hasn't got, I should say. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like just make it more uniformed. Yeah. So
Yep.
absolutely. For instance, right? I mean, I had this debate when I was on about upgrading the camera. Now I was using the A to D like you have got now, and it has a headphone jack. And the option to upgrade was to go to the 6D Mark II, but it didn't have a headphone jack. It's a more expensive camera that has better video features. So why did you remove the headphone jack?
It's all on purpose. They're not.
Yeah, it's little things like that that just start annoying you about camera companies. You know, obviously they don't think ahead.
Yeah, Unbroken said something about 1080p and that whole debate back and forth with 4K and all this. And John says no one needs 4K, but it just looks so much better. And the thing. The one thing I want to say about that.
I can get into a discussion about this because I used to be on the bandwagon of you don't need 4K, right?
Right.
Now, I'm coming from a creative point of view, not a viewer. When it comes to the viewer, they're not too fussed on YouTube, whether it's 1080p or 4K, okay? Because it's basically compressed the same. Well, from a creative point of view, filming in 4K gives you so much freedom when it comes to reframing afterwards.
Yeah.
That I can punch into 100% and still have detail, and it doesn't go all soft and out of focus. So quite often, I'll do a piece of B-roll. Let's say I'm doing a little bit of B-roll. A little B comes down, hits on a flare, and it's slightly out of frame that I don't like. I could punch in 125%, reframe it because I'm in 4K, and you're not losing any detail. It's great from a creative point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say if you have the capability of recording in 4K, record in 4K, and then edit in 1080, and all that extra latitude that you have is fantastic. For me,
the other thing as well, when you switch to 4K, you're getting the higher bit rate as well, which everyone goes on about resolution. 4K, 8K. Forget resolution. Look at the bit rate of the file, because the higher the bit rate, the better quality video you're getting. Okay, and you can push it more in post. So as soon as you switch the R to 4K, you're going from, I think it's 100 megapixels to 480 megapixels.
I think so.
And you're getting that nice bit rate so that you got lots of data to play with.
Yeah, no. More data is always good. Even if you're going to export it to YouTube where you don't need as much, it's still good to have it so that you have the latitude to work in post-production, like you said, to punch in, out, and still be without any type of degradation
I've done it before.
Or loss.
I've done a video in the studio when I didn't realize there's like a cable hanging down about there at the frame.
Right.
So I've got a cable coming down, which is the light switch, and I forgot to put it up. And because I was filming in 4K, all I had to do was punch in 120%, move the frame over a bit, and that's gone. And no one noticed that it was zoomed in because no one could tell because there's that much data there. That it's great from a creative point of view just to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
You can also create, if you're doing in 4K, we can do it with 1080p to a limitation, but you can also create a fake zoom with 4K. So if you've got if I'm showing off a lens and you watch my video, it's zooming in very slightly. It looks like a slider shot, but it's actually not a slider shot. It's simply still footage that I've just scaled up slowly over time, and it makes it look like a slider shot. It's great for doing stuff like that.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I know. You have the latitude to be able to do it, whereas normally you don't. You know, you could kind of zoom in a little bit, but you zoom in a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden it's gone. That's the end of it. So yeah, I was looking at some of the stuff that's coming out right now. We have obviously Canon Patents, the RF 100 2.8 macro, wide angle, the RF cine mount, all of that. Obviously, I know Canon's going to be coming out with a cinema camera not too long from now. They've been working on that. Let's see what else is in the news right now. We have the OM Digital Solutions registers a new camera in China, which is very interesting. I want to see what ends up happening with OM Digital Solutions now that it's no longer Olympus. Olympus has sold their camera company to JIP, and JIP created that OM Digital Solutions. Will they be able to pull it off? Are they going to be able to make it? We know they dropped massively in the BCN rankings. I think they're down to, 8th or something, but that's what we figured that was going to happen. Sigma 28 to 70 millimeter, 2.8 DG DN review. That's something that just came in. Just seeing if there's anything new for Friday. There's not a lot going on today, which is not a bad thing actually. It's TGIF, right? Everyone's trying to, I think, get out of the office. So I think it's time for us to get out of here too. But what I want to do is for everyone that's still hanging out watching, let them know where they can find you. Definitely go and subscribe to your channel, but give them
the easiest way to find me on any social media is just put in the hashtag Stewart Wood Art. You'll find my ugly mug there. You'll know you're in the right place. Or you can just go to stewartwood.com. So all my social media is there. Let me just. I'm going to do a plug now. Okay.
Yeah, do it.
Let me just have a look at this.
Do it.
I need I need 58 more subscribers to hit 30k.
How many? 50?
58 subscribers
58.
I need to hit 30k. Yeah, so if you want to help me out hit 30k, then go and subscribe. Brilliant.
Let me see. I'm going to find. I got to. What I'm going to do is. Let me see.
Because also, if I can plug it, when I hit 30k, well, if I hit 30k over the weekend, it's going to be like Monday. If I'm in too much pain, I might have to put it off. But I am going to do a live stream where I'm going to go through a bunch of images that I've took of a jumping spider that I haven't looked at yet, so I can give a realistic view of what actually happens when you get back home from a macro shoot, where 99% of your images are just crap, basically.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the images yet, so I don't even know if I've got a keeper, but I'd like to get my raw reaction down when looking at these images, so I'm going to do that for the 30k subscriber count.
I put the in the chat window there. I put your YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/Stewart Wood Art. Also, I'm going to put it into the comments and also, of course, in the description once we're done with this live, and it turns into a video so people can find you over there for sure. And we'll be doing more of these, kind of like hanging outs. I kind of like this. It's kind of cool just to be able to just hang out with everyone. And, it's a work day,
Yeah, I love my macro, but sometimes I do like to just hang out and just talk about something other than macro,
Yeah,
or just moan about something.
Just bitch and moan. That's it. That's exactly right. That's it. That's the way. Sometimes you just need some of that. So, anyways, I hope everyone, thank you so much for being here, Stewart. And like I said,
my pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
I hope other people like this. If you guys enjoy these type of let's call them a fun Friday or just like
54 now.
There you go. Yeah, or these weekend
going up.
These weekend reviews that I think we're going to do on Friday. If you're, Stewart might be with me, maybe he's not, but I think if you guys like that weekend review type of thing and just go over what's been going on for the week, and with the ability to be able to have these discussions and answer questions and whatnot, give the video, of course, a thumbs up, but also in the comment area, once this turns into a video, not right now, because if you do, it'll disappear. But once it turns into a video, go in there and comment it and give it a thumbs up, and just let us know is it something that you want. I really enjoy it, so if you guys enjoy it, let us know. So I want to say once again, thank you to Stewart for hanging out, and if you guys have not. Yeah, and if you guys have not went over to our creative Discord server as of yet, go to community.jcristina.com. Once again, community.jcristina.com. You'll find Stewart over there. We're all there all the time. There's hundreds and hundreds.
Or if you don't like his Discord channel, you can join my Discord channel.
There you go. Exactly. Put it.
There's a link in every description of my video, so just click on that. That'll take you to the Macro World Discord channel. Just beware, because you have got Ulrich in there. And you've also got someone called Anders, who is a very nasty piece of work if you get out of place. I actually had a troll on there this week.
Really?
Yeah, he joined in. I don't like to badmouth people. This guy was an idiot. He joined the server, asked a bunch of questions about doing an overpowered macro setup using medium format cameras. And then I politely asked him, could you put that chat into the gear section, because he was in public chat, and he went off on one. He went off on one, accusing me that your Discord channel is just so you can pedal your presets, which I've never done, by the way, and that he's a better macro photographer than I am any day. And I ended up kicking him out.
Yeah, you're always gonna, you're always gonna get those trolls. I have to say though, I really feel blessed because the Discord channel, as well as this channel itself, if I have to delete one person per month, it's a lot. I really do not get a lot of trolls. I feel blessed by it. I thank everyone. And a lot of times people go into these channels and they start trolling based on what they're seeing. And then sometimes if the whole community jumps on them, then they get out. This way you don't even have to do anything. But sometimes people will badmouth me in the past, and then the fans will just go and just clobber them, and they'll be like, all right, so that's the end of that. I'm not even going to bother. So
it's great having a fan base that will come to your defense if you get some idiot accusing you of some stupid
absolutely. And there's just a lot of those people out there, but we just don't get a lot. And like I said, it's definitely a blessing. So, but also guys, if you haven't downloaded my ebook as of yet, go check that out over at jcristina.com/ebook, 10 tips at making tack sharp images. I put that out a couple of years ago. A lot of people have downloaded. They like it. So check it out. It is free. Once again, jcristina.com/ebook, and head over to my website itself. You'll find a lot of photography tools that I've designed, developed, and patented over the many years. Go check those out. They are on there. You can also find them over on Amazon or on B&H Photo and Video, either which way. So if you want any of them, use promo code YT20 at checkout. You're going to get 20% off everything in your shopping cart. So go and check that out. So anyways, thank you so much, Stewart, for being here. I really appreciate it.
I've got to mention one comment.
Go. Said, absolutely.
He subbed, but he wants 1% of my YouTube revenue. So he expects his 10 cents every month.
That's exactly right.
I don't think it'll even be 10 cents, dude.
Yeah, he's got it dead on. Really good. Yeah. I love that. I'm going to put that as the final highlighted comment here. I have to put that in there because that is classic.
That's tickled me.
Yeah, Unbroken. He got it. You got it dead on. You got it dead on because if either of us were doing this for the money, we would definitely not be paying the bills.
I see Ulrich chickened out as well because he's talking in the Discord server instead of on the YouTube video now. So he's backed off after having his telling off.
Yeah. That's good. So anyways, guys, thank you once again, everyone, for being here, hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed the conversation, and most likely we'll do it again maybe next week on Friday. We'll do another weekend review. So we'll see what ends up happening. Thank you so much. Many blessings to you guys and your family. Take care. Appreciate it.
See you later.
Take care.